Hello, folks. Welcome to Never on the Back Foot. This is the last live stream of 2024. Feels very surreal that, we've done so many streams. This is our 49th stream, and we have a debutant joining us today, Divya. He is also a very, ardent and passionate cricket fan. Couldn't think of anyone better for this episode. Just put everything in perspective. He works for Cricket Heroes, does a lot of amazing work. So, guys, make sure to check out his channels and make sure to link it in our comments as well. And today, I know we're all smiling so much, but I hope through the course of our discussion as well, this smile retains because India has suffered a very, I'd say, unacceptable, sad loss versus Australia in the Boxing Day Test. No point it felt like India would lose in the way they did, but that's what happened. So through the course of our discussion, we'll explore what worked, what didn't, mostly on what didn't, I think. So it might come across as a very negative conversation, but we're trying to be objective in our criticism. So yeah, Divya, just to start off with, yeah, what are your first thoughts on this loss? I mean, did you see it coming? Did you have some expectations? Series poised 1-1? Yeah.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me here. I'm a little sad that it's the 49th episode and I am a RCB fan. So that's a little bit concerning, but yeah, I have done two audio podcasts with you and first time video. So yeah, thanks for having me. And yes, talking about the fourth test, I was expecting that India will win this because no one expected to that the series result will be 1-1 after the three matches because as we know Australia made the schedule which favored them, the pink ball test or the venues, right? But still we won the first match, then we lost in Adelaide, but again the draw at the Gabba was like I thought that it would like we will win the series, but now we are at the stage like we are hoping for a draw because the last two times India have won in Australia, and it's like मतलब रोहित फैंस को ट्रिगर नहीं कर रहा है, I'm also a रोहित फैन, बट रोहित को आदत लग रहा है कि 12 साल में एक बार चलता है उसका, वो बार बार रिपीट कर रहा है उसको.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, so many thoughts and a lot of things to just discuss upon. I think the Rohit Sharma point was something I will touch upon a little later. Akshat already goes on to add that day five was absolutely horrendous. Last session, 7 wickets with just 35 runs. Absolutely pathetic. Yeah, Akshat, we will again, be talking about it chronologically. So, we will touch upon this point and relive our traumas, so to say. But again, Nandip is just talking about like heading into this test match. Like there were talks of Rohit Sharma coming back up top, a lot of changes that India would want to kind of enforce. So, what did you make of India's changes to kind of start off with?
So talking about that, the changes were good. Like I expected to have two spinners in the Indian team because last time also we played in MCG. India played with two spinners, Ashwin and Jadeja. So I expected that Washi will join, but I expected him in place of someone else. But yeah, Gill also had a rough patch in this series. Like he has just only 140 plus score outside India since the Gaba innings. He has potential, we all know that, but and he's also getting the starts, but I think he's failing in converting them into a long innings like Jaiswal is doing. A fantastic talent, right? So I expected Gill to do this, and the seniors want leave the spot, right? So Gill was the choice to eliminate because Rahul was also playing brilliant. So Sundar in place of Gill was good, no issues because Sundar has also played brilliant in both the innings. He also bowled well. I think he was underutilized. I expected him more in the first innings, but yeah, and I think the opening change, stepping down Rahul was also not a good decision because Rahul and Jaiswal were batting well, and opening is such a crucial point to begin because their task is to play the new ball and spend 15 to 20 overs and score 50 to 60 runs. Runs are not important there, but making the task easy for the middle order is what they have to do. So I expected Rahul and Jaiswal to continue, but I think Rohit wanted to try the opening slot because he was failing in the middle order. But I think that was not the right move. But yeah, getting Sundar in the team, that was the right move.
And just to also, pick your brains on this aspect, as the test match was progressing, a lot of people started feeling that, hey, maybe if we had an extra pacer, things would have really, been much better. Like, what do you think about that? Having someone like a Harshit Rana would have probably helped India a little more, because hindsight is a wonderful teacher, as I keep, emphasizing. But then, do you again believe that probably that extra spinner wasn't the best idea?
No, I think two spinners were good because Harshit Rana then would not have been contributed to batting. In having the top order, like we are not having a consistent top order currently. They are not performing consistently, right? So an extra batter was needed, and we don't have any fast bowlers who can score runs for us. So adding a spinner was the right choice. Because they will also contribute with runs, and Washington Sundar did that. Also in the third test, Jadeja performed with bat. So both the choices were right. I think India need more pacers who can bat more. Like Akashdeep can bat well. He is the right choice, but he's not getting wickets. So like that's a contradict. But yeah, I think this was the right choice. Fourth pacer would have not been, because then India would have been bundled in 200. Then we have been faced the innings defeat.
Absolutely. I think the kind of situation that India was finding themselves repeatedly in the test required them to, required the lower order to, kind of bail them out of trouble. So fair point there, that we had to go in with a strategy where the bowlers could chip in a little with the bat. But let's just talk about day one, which was obviously a very tough side for a lot of us, getting up at 5 to just, watch your team absolutely get hammered, because Australia had a remarkable first innings. They kind of added on to India's misery on day two as well. Let's talk with Sam Constas and Usman Khwaja, right? They gave Australia a stellar start. You could see the Indians were under so much pressure right from the get go, right? So, how imperative do you think was that partnership, just kind of get things started for Australia?
Yes, Constas played a brilliant innings. Like he is just 19, and it was his debut match. But still, I think Bumrah initially bowled him few balls where he got beat. Right. I expected like he would get out, but then he started playing unorthodox shots. And someone who is making debut, no one expects that from a debutant. So kudos to him that he is confident, he is ready to play such shots in such a big stage. So his looked like a good talent, but I think we also missed some, like in the punch dismissal. If you saw, the third man went like there was a third man between the slips. So and Pant got out there. So Constas also tried one shot there, but he missed it. And then in the next over, he hit Bumrah for six, I guess, 1-6 and 1-4 at the same spot. So like proactive captaincy works well in such cases. If we had a third man, who knows, we could have got Constas wicket. And what Khwaja did was what we expect from a senior player. He was failing in the series, but when a youngster stood up, he also took the back seat, and played a test knock. The what expected from a senior player, like when Jaiswal is playing, we expect to have someone like Rohit or Kohli to just stay on the pitch, like Kohli did in the first test. So Australia, like I saw Michael last podcast also, where he suggested that McSweeney was not the one to get dropped, but it was Khwaja to be dropped. But if Khwaja was dropped in this match, Australia might not be in the stage where they were. So dropping senior players is not a correct thing, but they should have the ability to stay on the pitch. Like we expect that from someone who is playing since 10 to 15 years, that when a youngster is playing, you just hold the other end, and play a test knock which is expected from you, just as Khwaja and Constas did.
That is actually such a fair point because most of the times, we just look for very reactionary moves and, just end up removing someone as experienced as Usman Khwaja. And trust me, there were a lot of calls for that, right? Many felt, why are you removing McSweeney when Khwaja can be, removed? Because he's anyways at the fag end of his career, it won't make a
Yes.
difference. Might
Hmm.
as well groom McSweeney for the future. But I think it was a good move by Cricket Australia to, kind of just keep Khwaja at the other end. You need that right left sort of a combination. So obviously did
Yes.
make sense.
Hmm.
And I think for Australia, what worked even better was the fact that the openers gave them such a great start. Then you had the likes of Marnus Labuschagne and Steve Smith, right? Who again just came built on that sort of a foundation, especially Steve Smith. I mean, man was batting like, he didn't have any, difficulties or troubles, negotiating the Indian bowlers. So, what did you make of, their knocks and the significance of the same?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, also the opener's task is to just play the new ball and making it easy for the middle order. So that's what happened. And Lebashan and Smith are experienced enough. Smith is more experienced that they would not miss this opportunity, like Kohli did in the first test when Jaiswal and Rahul gave the start. So and Smith has been a headache for us before head was a thing, right? he played again. He yes, in 2014, he scored 700 plus runs, and in India also he has performed brilliantly. So Steve Smith is just a next level player in Test. I think in the Fab Four, he is the best technically and performance wise also. Over the countries because he has performed all over the world. I think he is better than Root, according to me, because Root has more runs in England. He has played in India, but he has not performed well in Australia. Right. So I personally believe that Steve Smith is the best player, and yes, he did what was expected from him. A 140 runs knock. He just uh, de- like removed India from the game.
Yeah, I mean, that is just one knock that single handedly took India out of the game because Australia was heading towards a massive first innings total. That knock certainly helped the cause. Then you had the likes of, Pat Cummins and Alex Carey, just coming and ensuring that Australia ended up with that mammoth 474, which I think the Indian bowlers really I think we're just so taxed and exhausted that they're like, "Ugh, 474 fine." So what did you make of that? The kind of misery that Australia is continuing to pile on India. Do you think there itself Australia got the head start in this test?
I think Alex Carey has always scored those handy runs when required. He always scores like 30 to 40 runs. He comes at number 6 or 7. So those runs are very crucial when the team gets start or the team doesn't get start. In both the cases, these runs are very impactful. So and then comes Cummins, and Cummins also always has 30 to 40 runs and troubles our Indian team every time, whichever the format is. So I think Carey and Cummins just made it more difficult for India to come back because I thought we will get them done in inside 400, but they scored 464, and I think now India have to score like more than 350, which we did, but still we were out of contention to win the game.
Yeah, I mean, somewhere, when your opposition scores that much against you, it does put a lot of pressure, right, coming into bat. And as much as we've reflected on Australia's batting, just looking at India's bowling, that first innings again largely hinged on how Bumrah was bowling. He did the heavy lifting, and he did like the brunt of the work, right? Getting those 4 wickets with not a lot of support from the other end. I think a lot of people, I think even you would bring this point up that he was overbowled, right? And it was always going to be difficult with no support from the other end. So, what did you make of India's bowling performance, or how unlucky the other bowlers were?
I only believe in Jesse Bar. Like that's a perfect point which describes Jasprit Bumrah. There are no words better than this. I think we expected more from Siraj and Akashdeep. They bowled well, but at the end of the day, you needs wicket. You need a team needs wicket. We don't get advantage of a brilliant spell, or we ultimately get wickets, but only Bumrah was getting wickets, and Jadeja also got 3 wickets. That was good. But I think Siraj getting hammered, like he got 100, he got 100 more than 100 runs. So I think the pressure was released from the other side. I expected more from Siraj. Like I personally, before the BGT series, when I saw the team announced, I knew that we will face this issue because Shami is very important for India in outside India, like the Sena countries. Bumrah and Shami combination has always worked for India, and then Siraj accompanies them. In Gaba, he single-handedly did that, but the thing was. There was a different atmosphere in the Gaba test. It was something else. But after that, Siraj has been good in this tournament, but I think he is a third pacer. Like there is a top two pacers in every team, and I don't think he is the one which we can consider in the top two. I think Bumrah and Shami, and then Siraj. This trio will work very well. But we missed Shami, and Akashdeep is also good. He bowled brilliant in India also, the home series. But I don't think like he will work outside India. I think Arshdeep can be tasted once because a left arm fast bowler, I think, should be tried because Australia has Mitchell Stark, New Zealand has Trent Bolt, almost every big teams. South Africa has Marco Jansen. So I think a left arm pacer is necessary, and that was the reason we won the T20 World Cup also. So I think using the left arm pacer in the test team would also be a ideal choice.
Yeah, I mean, even looking at India's pace battery, right? You have the likes of Yash Dayal, you have Khalil Ahmed. As you rightly mentioned, there's Arshdeep Singh as well. I mean, most of them have been just looked at like, white ball options. I mean, Yash Dayal did get his fair due, being selected for, I think, the Bangladesh tour and all of that.
Hmm.
But then, do you really see like an investment in these pacers, trying to rotate them well? Because you also have the likes of Mukesh Kumar, you have Prasidh Krishna. It's like the fact that we're able to say so many names goes to show we have a feeder system of these pacers. But do you think it's time that India starts giving opportunities to them even in like our overseas tours?
Because, like, I think if Bumrah is not there, then it will be a big trouble. Like, if, like, last year, like in 2 years back, Bumrah got injured, and his bowling action is such that he can get injured anytime. So, we need to have backup which can work in situations like this when we are playing outside India. And I think left arm pacer is one thing we should invest in. Apart from that, Mukesh Kumar is also a good choice because he's a good swing bowler. Like we had Bhuvneshwar Kumar, but we did not use him enough. We have Hardik Pandya, but he cannot play 3 formats at one time. So I think investing someone like Mukesh Kumar, Arshdeep Singh, or as you told, Khalil Ahmed or Yash Dayal would be a right choice, I think. So I think India should start using them because as time goes, we will need them in future.
I really hope that's the sort of investment that the team management does make, at least in the next, World Test Championship cycle, because we do not want to find ourselves, in this sort of a situation where we're just relying on the same bowlers to kind of deliver. No disrespect to Bumrah. I mean, if he's doing the heavy lifting, great. But then sometimes you just feel for the man. I think there were like a lot of viral reels of him, just telling Rohit Sharma ki bhai mujhse
Hmm.
nahi hoga. Like, I'm just feeling so overboard. And really
Why
goes
then?
to show, right, how much burden was on him. But again, now let's talk about India's first innings. Now, it was an interesting one because I actually want to talk about Rohit Sharma first because, coming up as an opener, skipper leading from the front, a lot of people felt, that, hey, he's the captain. He should not bat in the middle order. He should, reclaim his top position. But his struggles clearly seem to continue, right? I mean, another single digit score. Man's average is literally in the dumps when you look at his past few matches. So, what have your assessments like been of Rohit Sharma's form? Like, what is the way ahead?
I'm personally not a fan of Rohit's test career. I value him very high in ODI cricket. I consider him in the Fab 4 in ODIs because he is someone who has performed equally to Virat in ODIs, like 2019 World Cup, or in 2023 also gave those important starts. But talking about Test career, I don't consider him so deserving. I think Rahul is better, and I would stick with Rahul and Jaiswal as the openers because he made Rahul to bat at number three, and then the way he got out was very disappointing. Like I don't know what either he should play the proper pull shot or he should leave the ball. Nothing in between. I think he's stuck between should I go to attack or should I play defensive, and which is creating a dilemma for him also and the Indian team also, that should we continue with him or like should we look for other options. Like we have so much talent in India. Like we have Abhimanyu Iswaran who is performing so well in domestic cricket. We also have Ruturaj Gaikwad. So we have many openers who are waiting. Like Devdutt Patikal is also a great choice. So there are many waiting for the opportunity, and then you are wasting like the opportunities you are getting. Even though you are an experienced player, we expect, like if he's inexperienced, we expect more from him. So I expected at least a 50 in this match when he went for opening and made Rahul step down. But I think it was disappointing the way he got out in the first innings. And yes.
Yeah, I think you pretty much summed the kind of struggles the man has been going through for some time. I think even Irfan Pathan, just very openly said that if Rohit Sharma was not the captain, he'd probably not even make it into that playing 11. And when ex-cricketers actually come out and speak such things, it really goes to show that a player is like woefully out of form and probably needs some re-evaluation, reassessment of if they fit into the scheme of things. But again, just delving deeper into the KL Rahul point, like you mentioned that KL and Yashasvi are your opening combination, right? So I want to understand, like, would that be like a makeshift sort of an option for you, or are you looking at this even say for the future? Because when you look at KL Rahul's numbers, obviously his Sena numbers are better than his home numbers, but he's the kind of player who hasn't really lived up to his potential, right, in Test
Hmm,
cricket.
hmm.
So, how do you look at this debate? Like, is KL Rahul still your option to open, or is this just like a makeshift option you're looking at for now?
Next year we are touring England. So and Raquel Rahul has a century in England also. He also has a century in Australia. I guess South Africa also. So he have centuries in almost all the Sena countries. And technically, if we talk, he is the best batter in the current Indian side. He is a better technical player than Virat Kohli also. The classical shots Rahul plays, the if you also see in the first two innings, the way he let the ball outside of stump balls go, and he plays close to the body. So his technique is not questionable. He is such a great talent, but I think he underperforms when the pressure is high, like in the ICC knockouts or like some situation. So, and also the one reason is that he has irregular positions to bat. He has batted from the number one to number seven, all the batting position. And I think in ODI he is a great number five option. But in Test, India should stick with KL Rahul and Jaiswal opening for the next year, I think. And if that doesn't work out, we can go for either Abhimanyu Iswaran or anyone else who performs better in the domestic circuit.
I see where you're coming from, and probably the next cycle will give us an indication of where India is headed, in the Test cricket side of things. But again, just coming back to this Rohit point, because I'm really guessing this is his last cycle. I don't think we're going to see him after this because the team management will have to take some tough calls. So, who do you think will fit that captain role? Right? I've asked this question to a lot of my panelists as well. A lot of them gave me simple answers like, yeah, it's going to be Bumrah. Say even KL Rahul for that matter, or even a left field choice like Rishabh Pant. So if I had to put you on the spot and ask you this, like who do you think will be India's next captaincy option? Do you think it's too soon to be asking this question?
No, no, it's the right time. I think Bumrah is a perfect choice because Rahul and Pant both doesn't have a permanent position in the team. A captain should be one who can who will be playing for next 3 to 5 years at least. So we have a right future. Like we can have a vision. Like yes, he can play at least two WT cycles. And I don't think because if Rahul underperforms, he will be dropped. Pant has also not performed in this Australia series, and we also have his backup also. Like Ishan Kishan is a great option also, a lefty and a wicket keeper. But I think Pant deserves another year because he has performed brilliantly for India in the past few years, and he has that attacking instinct when needed. But I think for someone to become a captain, I think Jasprit Bumrah would be a right choice, and he can be someone like Pat Cummins for Australia. He can do that for India, I think. Yeah, because a bowler, when a bowler becomes the captain, like we know, our first World Cup was won by Kapil Dev. He was a bowler, in fact, all rounder. But we don't have an all round. Like Hardik Pandya is the right choice for the white ball captain, but I think Surya Kumar has been appointed the captain at the T20. But yeah, he's also correct choice. But in taste, I think Bumrah would be the appropriate one.
Yeah, it will be very interesting to see how this kind of pans out because I think historically too we haven't seen a lot of bowler captains in India's setup. The last I can
Mm.
think of is probably like Anil Kumble. I mean, if you can think of any more
Mm.
recent like bowler captain
No,
sort
no,
of thing
no.
that India
Anil
opted
Kumble,
for.
right? Yeah, Anil.
Yeah, if
Mm.
Bumrah can, also besides doing the heavy lifting with bowling, even kind of marshal the troops, nothing like
Yes.
it. But I think it's a conversation for another day because let's actually get back to this match.
Yeah, the
We did
fourth.
talk
Yeah.
about Rohit's struggles and KL Rahul also getting out, but I think Yashasvi Jaiswal, right, that knock of his, that 82, which definitely had the potential to be 100, 150, because we know, right, the kind of grit determination the man shows. Once he's in, he gets in the groove. He always converts to those big scores. So talk us
Yes,
through
yes.
that inning and probably even on the unfortunate run out. Yeah.
So Jaiswal has led Indian batting order brilliantly in this BGT. Like what Bumrah has did in the bowling side, Jaiswal has done in the batting side. Because the only test we won, he was the one who gave us the start and took the innings further also. We have recently seen when Jaiswal scores 100, he scores a daddy 100. Like he will go for 150 or even 200 if it's his day. So I think uh, if that run out, that unfortunate incident did not happen, I was expecting India to end the day at like 200 for two, and then we will continue the day the next day. And I thought India would reach the Australia's score because Kohli was also looking brilliant that day. He was leaving the outside off stump balls, and the run out also made him his concentration lost, and he also fell to Scott Boland. But I think the run out, if we analyze that, like I think that was Jaiswal's call. And when the ball goes behind the non-striker, there's a striker's call. But I think there wasn't a run because it was straight to comments. If अगर हाँ जायसवाल रन आउट नहीं होता तो कोहली रन आउट हो जाता कोई तो होने ही वाला था उसमें तो बट द issue was from both sides. Like Kohli was ball gazing. He didn't look to Jaiswal, and Jaiswal just kept running. He didn't look to Kohli. So I think both were at the fault. And but there was no run. I don't understand why they go for a single when they are in such a good like both were in such a good touch. And next day also Pant and Jadeja were also trying to take a close single. I think in a test match, when you are playing so good, or you are in a situation like we are in a deficit of 300 runs, I don't think you should go for such singles because if you are there on the pitch, the runs will keep coming because the bowlers will get exhausted. Then they will move to the fifth and sixth options like Pat Cummins go to Mitchell Marsh, Travis Head. So then you will get the scoring opportunities. So I don't think you should go for this singles. Kohli also got out in the New Zealand test, similarly a run out at the final time in the final 30 minutes of the day. So I think he's such an experienced player. And Jaiswal also has played such a so much domestic cricket. I don't think that was the right thing that happened, and that costed us the game.
Yeah, because I think that can really be called a game-defining moment. Because after the Yashasvi Jaiswal dismissal, I think even Virat Kohli, as you rightly pointed out, just lost his concentration because he just didn't seem like him. He didn't seem like himself, and again, was dismissed for I think what is a well-played 36 of some whatever 80 odd deliveries, and it was an unfortunate
Yeah.
thing for India. But then obviously you can't hold just these two responsible for like India's batting collapse because Rishabh Pant, let's
Yeah.
talk about him. Man was heavily criticized. I think Sunil Gavaskar also just went all out, almost calling him stupid on air, which was unfortunate, probably a commentary blunder because you can't be like that on
Yeah.
comms. But again, Sunil, like, what did you make of Rishabh Pant's dismissal? Because we've seen him kind of play on the sixth gear, so to say. And it wasn't very like unlike him to do what he did because it's a very high risk, high reward sort of a situation. But were you like as disappointed as a certain commentator was?
I think, as I mentioned, when you are trailing by 300 runs, and that's a like after five wickets have fallen, and the day has started. You are playing good. He scored three boundaries. I guess he's played a pull shot, and he was looking very good. And the other end, I think Jadeja was there. Yes. So I think the partnership was going good. So there was no need for such a shot. And I would also appreciate Pat Cummins' like proactive captaincy because the third man was such a smart and bold move. Because before that also, Pant edged the ball and it went between the slips and it got to Nathan Lyon, and that was just a single. Otherwise, it would have been a four. And also, Pant tried a similar shot before also where he fell down and the ball remained there only. But again, he went for that, and uh, the dismissal happened. Nathan Lyon caught the ball. So I think that was immature from Pant because Pant is such a brilliant talent, but I think he's still immature when the what the situation demands. Like I personally believe that they would have stood till at least 250 or 275, then NKR and Washington would have taken India to 450. So I expected a 60-70 runs knock from Rishabh Pant. If you see Rishabh Pant's career, he has got out in the 90s so many times because he's like just I will play aggressive. That's not the thing. I think when I think he should play as per the situation. So I personally am not a fan of those things. But yeah, what Sunil Gavaskar did was frustration, like because he expected more from like someone like Rishabh Pant, right? So, but yeah, it should not be on air. But yeah, it was like he has the trophy named him behind him, so he values the trophy more than us, more than the team. So it was, I think, justifiable.
Yeah, I mean, I could understand where he was coming from, but then sometimes I think emotions do get the better of us in
Hmm.
situations like that because Rishabh Pant has been in the test setup since what 2018, and I think it would be like premature to call him a senior, but then you expect him to kind of carry the reins of the Indian batting when we lose those crucial wickets. So fair enough. I hope Rishabh Pant takes cognizance of this dismissal and comes back stronger. But I think one of the biggest positives from this innings had to be Nitish Kumar Reddy. Magnificent century, right? That 114. I think every third visual was just panned on his father who was sitting right there at the boundary, with the Bharat Army. It was an entire vibe. It was giving full Bollywood movie vibes, like India was losing wickets. You needed someone to just give him that little support, that strike, and everything. So yeah, if you talk us through that madness that knock was and how incredibly special for this 21-year-old.
So yeah, it gave me Shardul vibes like what he did in 2021. Yeah. So, but yeah, that was a 50 and this was a 100. And this is incredible because for a 21-year, as you mentioned, uh, playing under pressure, and I think he's sent too much at lower position to bat. I think he should be at least send before Jadeja or even before Pant, we can try him. So batting at that position and then scoring 100, that was just fabulous. And when he was on 97 and he hit the ball in air, it just almost gave me a heart attack. Like he batted so brilliantly and missing 100 like that. But yeah, fortune favors the brave, right? So that worked well, and also kudos to Mohammad Siraj. He faced three balls of Cummins. So yeah, I think this was such a special knock, and he deserves all the appreciation he is getting. And I think we can look at NKR as a player who can be an all format player for India in future. We can play with both Hardik and NKR. Yeah, fingers crossed. We can both play with Hardik and NKR in the white ball format.
Yeah, and the reason I did fingers crossed was honestly because we've seen so many pace bowling all rounders just wither away or, just end up embracing one skill. Because what I found really
Hmm.
interesting, I think it was a post match conference, and NKR was talking about how, he wants to work on being a better bowler. Like, man has literally scored a century on Boxing Day test, yet he chooses to focus something he's not great at, which is
Hmm.
the kind of humility you expect from superstars, and I think he's showing it right away. So I see the signs. I
Hmm.
hope we are right, and he goes on to blossom into like a whole legend and all of that. Let's actually take a few comments. Ujjwal has to share.
Yeah.
So support staff to Bumrah after he bowls the shit out in the heat. Please wear helmet. You have to bat in an hour. I think this is a reference to the reel where Bumrah is just sitting like this because God, he had to come out to bat. Like bowling bhi main hi karu, batting bhi main hi karu was the kind of situation I think he did find himself in. And another comment goes on to
Exactly.
add that Scott Boland really has a knack for creating havoc with just a lapse of, just a lapse from the opponent. Jaiswal's run out in the first innings, Pant's shot in the second innings. Yeah, this Pant's dismissal in the second innings is a pointer that I have kept for our discussion as well, but brilliantly pointed out there by Ujjwal. He also goes on to add that it was a mental battle for both Kohli and Smith in the series, and Smith showed why he has an average of 55 plus in tests. So, Divya, I'll probably get your thoughts on this because we did talk about Steve Smith's 140 earlier in our conversation, and you said that in Fab 4 he has like probably the best technique. He scored all around the globe, and he has that sort of a I don't know, like that sort of a vibe around him that he can actually score runs in spite of having the most fidgety batting stance and all of that. But Steve Smith,
Hmm.
I mean, considering the way he has been performing, he will be in this Australian setup, like at least for the next 2 years, maybe.
Hmm. Yes, yes. I think Smith will play the next WTC cycle also, and I hope Kohli will also play the next WTC cycle, because I don't think the thing is both are legends, and I rated Smith high in that just the test format. I think overall, if you consider all format, then there is no competition for Virat Kohli, because
Yeah, I think we lost Divya for a minute there. Let's wait for him to kind of figure out his internet thing. But yeah, guys, please keep the comments coming in. We will keep taking that. Yeah, after 10 years, this trophy should be called BCT, Bumrah Cummins Trophy. These two are literal stallions. That is actually such a fair point. And I think, Ujjwal, if you did tune into the earlier part of our conversation, we were talking about how like Bumrah and Cummins have been doing like such an amazing job. We love bowler captains. And yeah, it kind of makes sense to, name the trophy after this too. But I think this is after like a really long time. Yeah, we'll just wait for Divya to join us back while I kind of carry on. Ujjwal also goes on to add, congrats Rohit, he has more runs than Bumrah's wickets in the series. I remember seeing this tweet as well. It's unfortunate that Rohit Sharma is going through this sort of a like lean patch in his batting. He was hoping he can make a strong comeback, so to say. But then Bumrah has been fantastic, right? I think you guys can also add in the comments about this. Let me see if I have missed any other comments while Divya joins us back. Yeah, I think this was the comment I did take early on, that day five was absolutely horrendous. The last session, we did end up losing like 7 wickets, yeah, which was pathetic. And I think Divya has joined us back.
Oh,
Hello.
sorry, there was a network issue.
Yes, yes, completely understandable. But yeah,
Yeah,
Divya, we were just talking about this point of Steve Smith. Yeah, we were
Virat
talking
and
about Steve
Smith.
Smith.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, so I think we expect more from Virat because and overall, if you consider, I think there is no competition for Virat Kohli. Like he has more than like around 30,000 international runs, and the next is Joe Root, which he has 20,000 runs. So, but like Kohli has also performed brilliantly in Australia in 2014. Before that, in 2012 also, and so I expected more from him. I expected at least 2 to 3 centuries in this BGT from Virat, because someone from like his stature, we expect like this. So Steve Smith, I think he outbattled Virat Kohli in this BGT, which is like which we have to expect, which we have to accept because that fought. So I think like in the fifth test, we can still be hopeful. Like it is Sydney. What Sachin did in Sydney, we all know, no cover drives. And Virat also practiced that. I saw the video of Harshit. He told Harshit Rana to just ball outside off, and he was leaving the ball. And he was so good in the first inning. So I think 100 is around the corner. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I think as the optimistic Indian fans, we will hope for a strong Virat Kohli return because I don't know, every third post I see lately on Instagram is, how in the Fab Four Virat Kohli has just fallen out. It's just about the Joe Roots and the Kane Williamsons and Steve Smith, doing their sort of thing and all of that. But it's a little sad to see, like, I wouldn't call it decline of Virat Kohli in tests, but probably like not being in his peak form, that 2016, 17, 18, 19 period. And let's at least call it pre-COVID period. So at least as fans, we will be hoping that sort of returns. But let's also give due credit to the Aussie bowling, right? I mean, somewhere they must have also felt, yeah, we let India go to 369 because of, the way NKR batted. But then they would still be pleased with their bowling effort, right? You had the likes of Pat Cummins, Scott Boland, and Nathan Lyon get those three crucial wickets, especially Nathan Lyon, who has been particularly silenced by the Indian batters. So they wouldn't complain much, right, with that sort of a bowling effort.
Yes, yes. Pat Cummins has always picked wickets. So I think there is no doubt about that. But Scott Boland, I think he is a perfect replacement for Joe Hazlewood. I think when Australia played Joe Hazlewood, it was better for India because what Josh Hazlewood does, he doesn't leak runs. But what he bowls just outside the off channel and he just keeps on bowling there. So if a batsman is like proper concentrated, he can just leave the ball. So that's not the concern. But Scott Boland makes you play the at least three to four balls in the over. So like you are in the dilemma: should I leave the ball or should I play? And that's where the a bowler gets a wicket. So I think Scott Boland is a great talent for Australia, and he will be in the future planning for Australia. But one thing which is concerning for Australia is when the pace trio will retire, they will retire together, like Pat Cummins, Josh Hazelwood, and Mitchell Stark, and also Nathan Lyon. So they need a replacement. I think Scott Boland is there. They also have seen about Todd Murphy. They have talent, but I think there would be a like 1 or 2 years where Australia will face issues.
Yeah, definitely, because their bowling department is certainly not getting any younger, as you rightly pointed out. And even Scott Boland, for that matter, I mean, the fact that the man is always brought in as a replacement, when one of them are injured, just speaks volumes of the kind of character that he is, doesn't let things get to him that easily. And
Hmm.
just every single time comes and delivers some love equation he has with MCG. And, we've seen the kind of wonders he has done in the past as well. But again, the kind of scenario that they created for Australia. I mean, Australia's coming in with what, that 105 run lead, and I thought they would really capitalize on that second innings, but they had a collapse, right, at 91 for six, and. So where from that stage, from that 91 for six, where did you think the match was headed? Do you think India would have, continued to just put the pressure on Australia? Or yeah, I mean, realistically, you did think that, right?
Yes, that was a moment when we all got charged up. Yes, that's a chance. Like we will bundle them in under 150, and 250 is chaseable. I think we have the betting depth which can chase 250 also up to like 300 also if we would have restricted them. India would have gone for the chase, but I think more than 300 is a very challenging target to chase. And given that the Rohit is out of form, Kohli is also like in and out of the form. So and KL Rahul not batting at his spot. So like chasing 300 plus was not a easy task. So I think I thought like when I saw 91 for six, I think yes, now we will win from that year. I think Australia will be restricted below 150, and then we will win. But I think Nathan Lyon and Scott Ball and Pat Cummins, they had a different plan.
Absolutely, because I think this was another narrative that kind of emerged from the match, that you let Australia's tail back. They got so many runs, especially the partnership, right, between Nathan Lyon and Scott Boland in the end. They batted for like some 11, 12 overs till that end of the day. The next day also they batted a little bit. So here, how would you look at Rohit Sharma's captaincy? Again, I'm not throwing him under the bus, but then I think there is this visual of the kind of field setting that Pat Cummins had kept for India's tail, and the kind of field setting that Rohit Sharma had kept for this tail. And you could see a clear difference and a lack of, trying to penetrate and actually get them to commit mistakes. So did you see like a lack of foresight from Rohit Sharma to, get the right field sets and just tinker with the bowling combination a little bit there?
Yes, bowling combinations also, and I think Rohit personally, like in the test format, his field setting is defensive. I think when a new batsman comes, even if it's a like a number three batter or number four batter, there should be four slips at the gully. There can be a short leg. There is no there is nothing wrong in trying such field for 4 to 5 hours. Let him score runs. There is no issue about that. Giving easy singles would just end up like they will be set and they will score 50 or more than 100 also. So I think there should be aggressive field for in the test match. I saw the like in the fourth innings that the people will say like that was fourth innings. Australia was playing for the win, but even in third innings you have to play for the win. You have to set the attacking field because when NKR came, then also I saw for when Nathan Lyon was bowling, there was a slip, there was a leg slip, there was a forward short leg, there was a silly point. So I think there should be at least 4 to 5 fielders near the batsman when he walks into bat. Otherwise, there is no like point in the bowlers putting in the hard efforts. Also, like Jasper also missed a one catch also. So yeah, but I think aggressive fielding needs to be placed when you are playing a test match. And if you, I don't know if you remember or the viewers remember, Gautam Gambhir is one who in one IPL match against RPS, like Rising Pune Super, he set an attacking field for Dhoni, slip, when the spinner was bowling a slip, a short leg, like all the fielders I mentioned. So I think when Gigi is in the dugout, he should also like suggest Rohit to set an aggressive field. I don't know what's the issue there because I think there's a lack of clarity between Gigi and Rohit because in this year we have only won against Bangladesh when these two are together. We lost in Sri Lanka. We lost against New Zealand. There was a horror experience for the ICT fan, and now we are losing in Australia. So I think the Gigi Rohit combination is not working. So one out of them should be removed. So in from at least test form.
Yeah, I think after this series, irrespective of the result, there needs to be a serious reconsideration of either Rohit Sharma or Gautam Gambhir, because a lot of people are criticizing this also. Gambhir doesn't come in with that sort of a CV where he's worked with like national teams or worked at the test setup. In fact, one of his old tweets, where I think he was praising one of Surya Kumar Yadav's like T20 innings, and he's like, bring him in test cricket. So people are like, this is the kind of man you have leading your test team. Definitely not the way. But again, we can't just read, like one thing, take it out of context and use it when we kind of want to. So, let's probably see how that pans out. But I think another ex-cricketer also brought this point up that when you're personally going through like a really bad slump in form, it kind of affects your mindset, and that's where you see the captain in you also just being shut off. So probably that could also be a case for Rohit Sharma, where he's battling his own personal issues while trying to get his team to win in a series like this, the BGT, which I think all Indian fans have hyped up so much. Just giving him the benefit of doubt that there's a lot happening. But even just looking at the target that was finally set, Australia did what they did, piled on India's misery. A target of 340 was always going to be an uphill task for India. A lot of fans believed ki ha boss, chance hai, we'll chase it down, we'll be aggressive, but it was going to be difficult. On day 5 in MCG, it was going to be difficult. And we had early loss of wickets as well. So again, Divya, do you feel there was a letdown by the seniors? Because again, we had to rely on the younger, stalwarts younger players in the team to step up, while the stalwarts couldn't. So was that a little disappointing again in the second innings for India?
Yes, yes. I think first of all, when you are in a situation where you have to qualify for the WTC final, you should go for the win. This should be the first initial, like, your target. Like, the openers can start aggressively, and if one or two wickets fall, then you should go for the draw. But here, India's planning was form. They were formed that we will play for the draw. So Rohit and Jaiswal started like playing 40 or 50 balls, and they were just around 9 to 10 runs both. So I think this was not the right approach to begin with, because both of them are sort of aggressive batsmen. And when there is a chance, like, there is a slight chance, there is a 1% chance, like in RCB's case. So if there is a 1% chance, 99% faith, you should go for that, I think. But the beginning was not good, as per my opinion. We should have gone for the chase. But even after that, Rohit got dismissed. Like, we expected, like, at least a 40 or 50 when you are chasing a 300, or even if you want to save the game, you have to play at least the first session as a senior player. So, and also from Kohli, I myself am a huge Kohli fan. But when someone needs to be criticized, he should be like. There was clear indication from the dressing room in the dugout. They would have discussed that we are playing for the draw, and then why you are going for the cover drive, and you have been practice in the nets, and I expected him to play huge innings, because he was booed by the MCG crowd. Also, by he was disturbed by the Australian media. So what I have seen, the peak Kohli or the prime Kohli, he always responds his haters or the critics he has through the bat. And this time he failed himself, he failed his fans. So I think as a senior player, both Rohit and Kohli failed, and that's the reason why we lost the test.
Yeah, honestly, because I think the way we are speaking puts a lot of things in perspective. Because if you just listen to Rohit Sharma's press conference, I don't even know what he was talking there. It just felt like it was someone else in the press conference. Like he spoke about Rishabh Pant's wicket falling, which kind of made things really difficult for India. We'll talk about Rishabh Pant's dismissal, but let's talk about the Jaiswal and Pant partnership first. They were batting brilliantly. They were giving so much hope, right, to the Indian fans. We're like, chalo, win nahi, to at least we'll have a draw. We can live with that sort of a thing. And yeah, I think the moment Rishabh Pant was dismissed, I think Ujjwal's comment here makes sense that grab his head. If you don't stop him with the bat, he will give you trauma with the ball. Clearly, what happened, right? It just kind of opened the floodgates, and for India to make a comeback then was just seemingly impossible, no?
Again, like as we discussed, Pant's innings in the first innings, he made the same blunder in the second innings also. He was playing good. He was again around 30, and this time he also played more than 100 balls. And I don't know the mess if there was a miscommunication or something, like we were playing for draw, and then why would you we go for a six, hitting a six to a part-time bowler? If you wanted to chase, you could have started earlier, because there was no point in the last session going for more than 200 runs. That was not possible. So I think then he would have just played the way he played Nathan Lyon. He should have played. Travis had the same in the same way. So I think again Pant made the blunder and disappointed the fans again. I think Jaiswal played really well in both the innings. So both the innings he got 80, and he's just carrying the Indian batting lineup.
At this point, yeah, he's pretty much, just single-handedly carrying India's batting effort, as you said. But another like talking point from this test had to be Jaiswal's dismissal. Uh, I mean, the number of times, each time, I come up with a different perspective. Ki, haan, deflection hua, probably the sneaker was just not giving us the picture. I mean, what were your 2 cents like when the dismissal happened? Have you had a chance to revisit it, and has your opinion changed perhaps?
Yeah, actually, I was in the office and we are all watching the match, and it was clear that there was a nick. I would we would not lie, because it was visible. Like when you if you saw the video, there was a deflection, but when you look the Sneeko, there was no such there. So having the umpire's decision not out and the Sneeko showing nothing, the decision would have been not out. But also, just I was shocked by the number of angles they had for the Jaiswal dismissal. And if you remember in the first test, Rahul's dismissal, where he got the edge but while giving him LBW. So, like Australia can't be kept away from cheating. I think I should say that.
Yeah, because I think it's fair that you bring this point up because before the series, or I don't know, during the first test, there's a lot of chatter ki, oh, we have like so many cameras, covering the test, all angles say. But when it actually came to, needing it in that situation, I don't think they explored all angles. The umpiring has been, I don't know, very questionable. Probably there'll be a documentary on this soon, sometime in the future about, the umpiring foulers
Hmm.
or whatever. Yeah, but that
Even in
was
the Kohli Constas incident, they were having multiple camera angles that time also. So like if it's there for their benefit, they have the camera angles. If it's for India, they don't have the angles.
Yeah, and I think that's where I agree with Sunil Gavaskar when he goes on to add that the Australian media acts like the 12th man for them. Just put the Indian players under pressure to scrutinize them every single move and all of that. Actually, that's an interesting segue for this comment by Ujjwal. He goes on to ask us, Mr. Gavaskar making fun of Boland's name. I'm sure you must have heard that reel,
Yeah,
and making
yeah,
that
yeah.
stupid comment on Pant that Jaiswal's wicket. It's definitely going to decrease his legacy in the new generation's eye. Do you agree with this? That somewhere people will stop just taking the man seriously, like, it's just an old
Uh,
man who's yapping? Yeah.
he also commented related to Kohli a few years back also, regarding Anushka also. Yeah. So I think yeah, because like he has been a legend for Indian cricket. No one can deny about that. But when you are commentating for such a long time, you have known every single player, you have seen every match, and you are such an experienced player, and you are at a level that every player respects you, even the fans also. But I think you should be responsible enough to not pass such comments at on air. So I think yes, that would decrease his legacy. Because if we see Sachin, he is not talking about anything like on if he puts on social media also, he appreciates the efforts, or if it's India, if it's opponents, he just appreciates the efforts and talks. And that should what a legend do. I think even Kapil Dev also a few years ago he also passed negative comments. I think like they have rights to say anything because they have brought cricket to India, but I think they should not do that because this will destroy their legacy. And this generation, they would because we are now like not talking about our mind like our age after like so we are having such fans who are just so player obsessed. So if you pass a comment against Kohli or if you pass a comment against Dhoni, then you will just be cancelled by the social media. So yeah, it's very difficult, and so I think they should not involve in this. They should not get involved in this.
Yeah, because even when you look at commentators and the kind of role they play, right, they're supposed to add value to like the proceedings that's happening there. I think that like Sunil Gavaskar was explaining the whole Jaiswal dismissal. He's like, "ये ना optical illusion है." I'm like, bro, what are you talking? Like, try to give us the perspective of like how it works, right? Rather than just adding to the confusion,
Hmm.
so to say. Again, there were a lot of memes, barrage of memes directed at him, a lot of abuse and all of that, which is again like a little unfortunate and probably not our territory to get into. But I don't know, the state of cricket commentary has been very, I don't know, like three question marks is
Hmm.
literally the thing that's coming to my mind. But I think someone said something that really, resonated with me. They felt that we obsessed so much over Jaiswal's dismissal, over Pant's dismissal. We didn't look at the rest of the Indian batting, right? Because they could have possibly tried to salvage the draw. We remember how Ashwin and Hanuma Vihari had done that in the past, but clearly India surrendered very meekly, right? There was no fight back, and the match was just done and dusted in a span of few minutes. So again, Divya, like, what were your assessment of the rest of that batting effort? And just sad to see, right, how things
Hmm.
played out.
So we are obsessed with the punch dismissal because that's the reason the call-ups happen. Because when you don't have enough batting behind you, I think at least till 15 to 20 overs were remaining. You have to play like defensive when you are playing for a draw. Vihari and Ashwin didn't go for any shots like playing aerial shots or when they played the draw in last BGT. So I think playing maturely is needed when you are playing in such a situation. And talking about collapse, we have seen this through the years, like over the 2 decades. Or India has been facing such collapses, so there is nothing new about that. But I think NKR already had played first innings, and I think there was nothing wrong with the dismissal. Nathan Land bowled well, and that the field was also set well. But I think Washington Sundar again played brilliantly in the second innings also. His innings will be is like I feel underrated in both the innings because the first innings all focus went to NKR, but Washi played a proper test knock, like playing 160 balls and just the score of 50. He just had one boundary, and that also came when he was like 35 or so. Where he was at 35 runs. So I think there was a perfect innings like what you expect from a top order batsman. What Pujara did for India in Australia or even in India also. So that sort of innings we Washi played. So I think he deserves all the appreciation. He also tried for the draw. I think he played more than 50 balls, but there was no support from the other end. I think India doesn't have a tail that would like that can play 10 to 15 overs when in such a situation. So I think we need to improve on that stage. And I think when Pant got out, and then also I missed Jadeja. So Jadeja's dismissal was also like not acceptable because there was a outside of ball in the like it was day 5. The ball would bounce. Why would you go for playing that ball? So I think but this is a part of the game. This just happens. So I think, but we cannot justify like what Pant did, what Jadeja did. So and what the Rohit and Kohli did. So we cannot blame the lower order for this defeat. The blame should be there on the top order.
Absolutely. I think that is a fair point. Like, I'm glad you're not taking one person's name. You're taking collectively the, batting order should have, done their work and not relied on, the lower order and the lower middle order kind of bail them out of trouble. I also want to take this comment from Ujjwal. He goes on to say that we force our quality spinner to retire. Context for our viewers, he's talking about Ashwin here. And Australia backs their spinner, Nathan Lyon, everywhere. Somewhere he feels that the Nitish Reddy wicket created that sort of a panic for Team India. We saw how things unfolded. So Divya, again, have you had your chance to wrap your head that, oh my God, Ashwin has retired. India has to look at other options. And Washington Sundar, is he
Mm.
giving you that sort of confidence as well?
Bowling wise, I don't think there is an equivalent to Ashwin. But yeah, I think batting wise, he's better than Ashwin. No doubts about that. Washington also played a great knock at Gaba. He also played in, I think, versus England in India, where he got out in the 90s. So I think he's a great batter. But bowling wise, the Ashwin's retirement is a huge loss for India, because I think now who will win the series for India in home conditions? Because I think Jadeja will also retire after this WTC cycle. So I think now Akshar and Sundar are the likely replacements, immediate replacements. So I don't have uh, pure vision, like would they work well for India like what Jadeja and Ashwin did. But yeah, they are immediate options which India can look up to. And also Tanush Kotian also got called in place of Ashwin, but he's a batting all rounder. So I think uh, there is, like, he should be, if he is given a chance, he should be placed in the top five or sixth. So like that also is very crucial thing which India should consider, because having a batsman who can ball is very important. Like what Australia did, Travis Head took the wicket of Rishabh Pant. And that also brings me to the point that Rohit also doesn't try his fifth or sixth bowling options. Like I think NKR needed to bowl more when we are in the first innings also and the second innings also. When Lyon and Boland were playing, Bumrah was exhausted. Siraj and Akashif also bowled many overs. So I think he should have tried NKR at that point. We don't know, like the thing fifth and sixth bowlers does, they pick wickets when the main bowlers doesn't. Like Pat Cummins always gives overs to Mitchell Marsh or Travis Head. So why don't we try our fifth bowling option? Washington also got underutilized. I think in the second innings he bowled, I think, 4 to 5 overs. I think he should have bowled more in the first innings also. So it would have reduced the burden on Bumrah, I think.
Yeah, I mean, India should have probably optimized their bowling options better. That's such a brilliant point, because that's when I actually want to look in contrast with the way Australia did, right? I mean, Pat Cummins again delivered. You had Scott Boland as well. Nathan Lyon kind of came back to form. And even Mitchell Starc, as much as he was trying to, not like talk about his back injury, you knew how much of pain now he was in. And even Mitchell Marsh, for that matter, right? A lot of people call him a liability, but then on the field, he's just next level, right? So do you certainly think India can take some learnings from the way Australia marshals their, bowling attack, doesn't over bowl them, and just goes about their thing?
Yes, yes, yes. I think India should give more overs to NKR or the second spinner. In India also, when the partnerships are built, when your main bowlers are exhausted and they are not getting wickets, this is what the part timers do. In 2011 World Cup, that's a different format, but we had Yuvraj Singh, we had Suresh Raina, and they also bowled in Test cricket. Also, Yuvraj bowled, Sachin Tendulkar bowled, Virender Sehwag bowled. So we had plenty of options, and if Dhoni also used that. Dhoni also gave bowling to Virat Kohli in many matches. He bowled him in Test cricket, ODI cricket, every time. So when you are not getting wicket anywhere, so I think you should go for the. There is nothing wrong in giving them 1, 2 to 3 overs. If you get a wicket, you are lucky enough. So I think we should try this in future.
I really hope India does get some perspective from this loss. And another aspect I did want to kind of ask you about was a lot of people, I think even commentators, kind of singling out a certain player like Jaiswal and him dropping those three catches when Australia was batting. So again, do you think it's fair, just kind of using one player as an excuse to be like, "हाँ, इसके वजह से we lost." I mean, it was a culmination of a lot of things. But overall, how would you assess like India's fielding, just looking at this Jaiswal incident
Like,
itself?
like I do believe that catches win matches, but when a fielder drops the catch, it is taught by like Indian coaches since under 14. Like we don't blame someone for the dropped catch. We encourage them that it can happen. It is a part of the game. Just second time it should not happen. I think the in the gully when Jaiswal dropped the catch, Rohit was just so frustrated. He like reacted. I think that yeah, that doesn't look good. Yeah, as a captain, I think you should not behave like that because it can affect the youngsters. Because you also scolded Jaiswal के झुक के खड़ा रहे वो जब वो शॉर्ट लेग पे था तो मतलब हाँ मतलब सही बोल रहा था वो तो मतलब उसमें कुछ गलत नहीं है बट द टोन लाइक लेकिन उसमें क्या रोहित का तो टोन ही वैसा है बट आई थिंक कि यंगस्टर्स को थोड़ा मतलब अगर हाँ कैचेस ड्रॉप हो रहे इट्स अ पार्ट ऑफ द गेम मतलब यू हैव टू मूव अहेड एंड कैचेस पे ब्लेम नहीं कर सकते कि हाँ कैच मिस हो गया इसलिए हार गए ये नहीं होता बट हाँ वो एक रीजन तो है कि विकेट्स नहीं गिर
Yeah, I mean, with the bowling unit, trying to make as many chances as generate as many chances as possible. You need the fielders to, kind of do their job, but that wasn't the case. And as much as we've, kind of critically diced this match, Divya, do you still have positives that Team India can take from this match, and Australia for that matter? I mean, although they are on the winning side, still any positives you'd look at for both of these units?
Yeah, I am an optimistic person. I still believe India will end up to draw, and Sri Lanka will defeat Australia in because I think Sri Lanka plays very good at their home conditions. Like they also defeated New Zealand, and New Zealand defeated us. So I think they have chance to win against Australia. They just need to win the series. Even they draw one match and win one match, still India will qualify. So but if we don't win the fifth match, there is no such thing. But I think we should go for the win. I don't think there is a change required in this team because I like yes, we will not go with two spinners, I guess. So Jadeja can be dropped, but bringing Shubman Gill in, I think Dhruv Jurel should be given a chance because if you have seen before the practice matches, Dhruv Jurel really played well, and he also performed well. I think in versus England at home. So I think, and he also had a fantastic IPL also. So I think there is nothing wrong here to try a young talent. So, but I think India will go with Shubman Gill as a replacement. But what personally I believe, Dhruv Jurel would have been a good choice if given chance.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see if India kind of enforces this change because Dhruv Churel is definitely a talent. Like the moment you said his name, I was like, yes, I could only think of the kind of performances he put in that practice game and all of that. But he's definitely one for the future. India will kind of consider. And yeah, let's see how the Sydney test kind of plays out because my next question was going to be about the WTC and are you looking at that? But I think we'll really have to see how the Sydney test plays out because South Africa has already booked their place in the finals. So I'll probably get your thoughts quickly before we wrap up this episode on South Africa, right? I mean, the kind of journey that they've had in this WTC, they lost a couple of matches, didn't win what they ideally should have won, and then won like what 6 or 7 in a row to book their place in the finals. So yeah, I mean, your thoughts on South Africa's journey?
Like it was like we were all expecting India versus Australia to happen again in the WTC final because no one expected India would uh, uh, like lose 3-0 to New Zealand at home conditions. But yeah, that's what cricket can do. So I think South Africa, they have a fabulous bowling unit because they have Kagiso Rabada, they have Marco Jansen, they have Lungi Ngidi. Also, I can't remember more names, but I think they also have Eden Markram as a Temba Bowma is also playing fabulous currently. I think the Pakistan test also Rabada took finished the game for South Africa. So we need such bowlers for India also that who can like we have like Shami and Bumrah has played in past, but they're not consistent enough. Like we cannot expect every time they come and they score 20-30 runs. Bowlers like them help when you are playing at away conditions because uh, top order collapsing is a normal thing if you think when you are touring some other country, even when Australia or England or any country is touring India, the top order fails. But the lower middle order and lower order should be like such that they can contribute 100 to 150 runs to what the top order has scored.
Yeah, a little bit of wishful thinking from us because for long, when you look at India's performances historically as well, we haven't had our tails wag so much to contribute itne runs. But we can only hope, that we kind of have our tail also contribute with the bat. But yeah, Divya, that pretty much does conclude our discussion. And the fact that on 31st December, two crazy cricket fans talking for 1 hour about, Australia, India speaks volumes, I think, about our love for this game. So I'd like to take this
Yes.
opportunity to thank you for joining me on this podcast and to all of our viewers, who shared some remarkable comments, some of which we couldn't take. But I'll take this one of Alex that goes on to say, guys, सिर्फ 10 subscribers बाकी है 500 के लिए. So yeah, करवा दो please. So if you guys are
करवा दो
still
500
sticking,
न्यू ईयर
so
गिफ्ट मिल जाएगा ना हाँ
So if you guys are still sticking around, make sure to subscribe to Never in the Back Foot. Follow Divya as well on his channels, and make sure to share the links across. And yeah, guys, that does conclude our last stream of 2024. Thank you so much for joining us. And yeah, until next time, stay safe and take care. Thank you so much. Cheers.